Good news is my blood pressure's at 124 over 84. It's not too bad. Bad news, well, my back still is kind of in pain, so I'm having to put ice packs on my lower back till they figure out if I'm going to take some cortisone shots in my lower back or whatever options I have. Yep, don't get lower back pain. This shit sucks. I did manage to check my weight at the doctor's office. And thank God, I'm down 10 pounds. That's good. Man, I tell you what, man. You can read the title, right? I was watching on the news earlier today, and they were talking about in California that they were condensing down the number of airports for people to fly out of or fly into. They had one in San Francisco. I think they had one in Oakland. I think two in LA. And like another one in like South California somewhere. They might have been San Diego. And so they're saying expecting like long waits to like to fly in and out of the flying out of the airport due to these shutdowns. So you got people that are working at the airport that aren't getting paid. Who the fuck would like would want to still work? What's the incentive to work if you're not getting a check? Now I know they say, well, when they get a deal done, um, they'll when a deal gets done, don't worry, they'll sign something, they'll get their payment back. They've already missed one check, maybe some cases two, going on maybe the third check. Imagine working like a whole month straight and you don't get paid and you're like providing a service because a deal didn't get done. And just think of how that sounds. Like you're working at your job and they're like, oh, you're still going to come to work. You're still going to have to put in your own gas money. You still have to pay your own bills. But, oh, we're not paying you a paycheck, but you still have to come to work until a deal gets done. I mean, just kind of make it make sense. Kind of make it make sense. I just talked to a friend of mine about 5 minutes ago before I, you know, upload this video, and she was telling me she may not be able to get her like her WIC or anything like that for her kid, and I'm like, damn. Because remember, everybody that's on Snap is taking advantage of the government. Oh my God. Out of 40 million Americans, how many are doing that? How many are doing that? And this is where, like, it kind of looks foolish on the Republican Party part. I hate to say it. But they're like, very like pretentious about, oh, people are ripping off Snap. And I'm like, and what about corporate welfare? You will never address that. Too bad the Democrats won't ever push that issue too, which kind of makes them look a little foolish. This is their opportunity to say, hey, what about corporate welfare? What about all the bailouts that the banks ask for every time they go under, or these large corporations too big to fail when they ask for government handouts, and the tax write-offs and the subsidies they get, man, not to mention all the jobs they send overseas. Oh, and forgot the AI takeover. So you don't mention any of those things, which is a larger scale of the bigger picture than just Snap and whatever, food stamps. Because you don't say nothing about insider trading, nothing like that. We don't discuss that. And the Democrats never really, this is their opportunity to really sort of put the leverage on the Republicans and say, you never talk about these things because your boys benefit off of that. But they, of course, have their own agendas that are non important to the country in terms of the way of life for people. So I think at the end of the day, both of these parties kind of look a little foolish when it comes to trying to take advantage of the moment, trying to gain the leverage. But of course, is there really a leverage when you look at this two-party system? I would probably make the argument it's probably not the case. You know, I told everyone, why is it important to get a deal done? What's the sense of urgency for these politicians to get a deal done? There's no sense of urgency. You know why? Because they still get paid on the 2nd and the 15th of every month. If that's how they get paid, I don't know if they get one check a month or if they get, separated into two checks. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I just said the 1st and the 15th, but that may not be the exact dates they're getting paid on. But the point that I'm making is they're still getting their paychecks while having to decide the budget. What is the sense of urgency? Like dead ass. Like, what is the sense of urgency? There is no sense of urgency. So yeah, people working at the airport aren't getting paid. That's fucked up, Marvin said. I wouldn't even go to work. Well, I mean, they say they could fire you, but imagine getting fired from a job you're not getting paid from. I mean, that's just like a weird shit. Now they keep saying you're going to get your paycheck. You just got to wait. It's like, well, how long do you have to wait? You know? I mean, the only way I guess I would suggest that you could sort of make it is if, of course, you were most likely had saved up some money, but that's probably not too many people. If you probably worked there and let's say you saved up 100K, you probably could survive for maybe, a year or two, but I mean, there's not, I mean, these guys are getting their paychecks every month. So what does it matter for them to get a deal done right away? No, they could just say, nope, we're not signing it. Nope, we're not signing it. They're still getting, the only way that they'll get a deal done is if they don't get anything either. They don't get no money. And that way, when those people in Congress or those lawmakers and politicians are like, oh shit, how am I supposed to get paid on the 1st and 15th when the government shut down? Oh shit, we better race to get a deal done. Don't you think they're going to stay? Don't you think they're going to stay in the office extra hours to try to talk something out? They're most likely going to they wouldn't have a choice because they're not getting paid either. But since they're getting a paycheck, there's no sense of urgency for them to get a deal done. So, what's the incentive for them to get a deal done? Republicans want a deal done their way. Democrats want a deal done their way, and no one's willing to meet in the middle. Just goes to show you what like a joke this two-party system like really truly is. And maybe we need to consider moving on from the two-party system. And my only suggestion is just to stop voting at this point. Is just to tell the American people that it's just not worth wasting your time and energy voting for these people. Over the years, full of empty promises, prices skyrocketing. Your insurance rates are going up. Car insurances are going up, health insurance, life insurance, death insurance. Cost of food is going up, groceries are going up. Your maintenance bills are going up, your medication's going up. It's just, what's the incentive for us to continue to vote for these people? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but you just have to be honest with yourself. What is it? I think, and here's what a lot of people think. They go, well, you know, what's the point of, you know, voting for Democrat? I'm like, well, if we voted for Trump, he sort of acts as one. Who kind of seems to kind of give in to corporations and investment firms, whether they're foreign or domestic. How's that gold card working out? Oh, we're going to use the gold card, and these investors are going to put that $5 million in, and we'll use that to pay off the $38.7 trillion that's currently out. And then like, oh, well, we found the fraudulent stuff in Doge and all that, and that $5,000 you're going to get, well, sorry, we're going to use that to pay off the deficit. Really? But the deficit's still there. So where's all that money going if you did, in fact, pull any money out? It's just, to me, it just sounds like they're stealing our money. Our tax dollars. Taxation is theft. I don't know how else to say this. Like, taxation is theft. That's the best way to sum it up. All we need is one flat tax, and I would say maybe 7-8%, and you could just get rid of all the other taxes. We don't sit here and need to be taxed over and over again, like we repeatedly see every time we go and pay a sales tax. That's a repetitive. You're basically paying taxes over and over again. They tax you on the road you drive on. They tax you on your property, which is probably the worst of the worst. That's probably the worst tax, is probably property taxes. No, I would say not probably, it is. Property taxes is the worst tax that you have. And miss me with the whole, oh, well, it's going on building roadways and stuff. Bullshit. It's going on roadways and infrastructure and blah, 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 blah. And, you got to pay the teachers. And I'm like, bro, I'm pretty sure that the income tax alone is enough to cover all that. And even then, probably not even, it's more than enough. That's just an excuse to keep, digging your hands into the sand. Keep continuously taking advantage of it. This is just, it's like price gouging, basically. When you have all these taxes. And if you guys are reading the title of this video, this economy's cooked. Imagine if they shut the airports down. I mean, I rarely fly, but I mean, just imagine that they shut the airports down, like on a nationwide scale, and how that would affect like the worldwide, commerce and travel and shit like that. That would be devastating. I just can't believe these brain dead idiots haven't figured anything out yet and haven't put a deal together. We're possibly going to enter in the longest shutdown And honestly, I don't see it getting resolved anytime soon. As long as they're still getting paid. As long as they're still getting paid, what's the sense of urgency to get a bill done, to get a deal done? I mean, seriously, if they're still getting paid at the end of the month, what does it matter to them to rush to the drawing board? Now, if they were desperate, like the people that they're not paying, then maybe they would, have that sense of urgency, because then it's like, well, damn, I'm not getting paid. Well, no shit. The deal's not done. The deal's not done. Of course, they're not going to get paid. This is part of the entitled society we live in. This is part of it. When you see them fighting back and forth, Republicans won't bend, Democrats won't bend. It's sort of like you have to pick a side if you're a person. And if you don't pick a side, they kind of force you to. It doesn't matter if you switch back and forth parties, they're going to force you to pick a side eventually. I mean, really, if you look at politics, they just use that to divide us as much as they can. It's like trolling at an ultimate level, or like messing with us. Maybe they're not put here to do anything. Maybe they're just put there to just mess with us, to just troll us, to keep us divided so that we don't question the way that things are going on with the taxes. So like gender wars right now is a distraction. These race hustlers, rage bait videos, they're all just a distraction. All of them are just a distraction. Meanwhile, our country's just rotten inside. I mean, you can't even hardly find any jobs around. AI's taking over everything secretly. Corporations are using AI also to take land, stock market, and like this giant takeover. This country, was built on corporations, but it became too corporatized. I think it's getting way out of hand. They're using AI to take over the real estate market. I mean, this is just going beyond, 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 to the point of no return. This is a disaster. Like I said, no one in this country is anything special. We all think we are. We all think our shit don't stink. We all think we're perfect. That's just not the case. None of us are perfect. Hell, I'm not. But we all think we are. We all think we're perfect. We're just not. People in here think they're too good to work. People in here don't want to work for the most part, and then they want a service done. Well, it's kind of hard when no one wants to work. But then nobody wants to work for a collapsing dollar anyway. And then no one wants to work because AI's taking over. So, I mean, it goes kind of both ways. You do got a lot of entitled people in the workforce, but it's more predominantly it kind of like as a pendulum swing, it goes back and forth. It's what's the point of working hard when you know that AI is just going to come and take everything over anyway? You know, there's just really no incentive, really. And this government shutdown is, maybe there's a bigger picture than what meets the eye. Maybe we are leading to another war, you know? President Trump, whether you like him or not, I used to be a fan of him. I'm not really too much of a fan of him anymore. And I stated many reasons why. Um, he seems like he's not really concerned about the people here at all. Completely just discontent. I mean, when he was coming back into office, he basically spent his whole campaign talking about the people and our needs, and groceries are high. Kind of took a page out the Biden Kamala Harris book a little bit. And then as soon as he got in office, he had the big, beautiful bill that he signed July 4th. Like, personally, I don't know why you waited till July 4th to sign it. It was a disaster bill anyway. It was a trash bill anyway. But you wait till July 4th, you just drag it out. And then he said, oh, I'm going to sign 90 bills in 90 days. It's like, well, you only got one bill that you signed, and you're like, what, 7 months or 8 months here? You've only signed, what, 1 or 2 bills, if that? What happened to the 90 bills in 90 days? What happened to the property tax relief you told us that you were going to do? He just kind of skated away from that. Does anyone have anything to say on this matter? I'm done with these politicians. I'm just fucking done. I'm just so done with them, man. I'm just so sick of them. I mean, you can't really vote on anything you really want. You just have to pick on the candidates that kind of coincide with your belief, but then you have to kind of hope that they follow through. And a lot of the times when they get elected, they just tell you what they want to hear till they get elected. Sort of how it works. Because once they get elected, they can't really be touched. So they have to prove them until they get elected. And then once they get elected, it's like they just kind of get disconnected and just get complacent. Like, well, I got the management position. I don't have to work anymore. It's sort of like that. Right? I got the management position. I don't have to do anything anymore. I don't know what we're going to do. Yeah, talking is cheap. Talk is cheap. I agree. You got my vote. Like I said, you vote me in office. If I was president, right, and I was voted in office, the first day I would set the tone. It's called set the tone bill, which is eliminate property taxes. The first day in office, I'm signing that bill. If that were me elected as your president, I'd set the tone the first day in office and sign the set the tone bill. Elimination of property taxes. Spring break bill, which would be in March, which would be what, like the third month? I would sign a tax relief bill that would eliminate income and state taxes, gift tax and the death tax, and just impose a flat tax of 8%. And everyone have to pay. Everybody pays the flat tax. Yes, corporations and billionaires, you too, you have to pay the flat tax. Which it wouldn't really matter because you'd be paying less in taxes anyway. But you would have to pay that tax. And there's no government subsidies that's going to give you that 8% deduction. You have to pay the 8% regardless. So that's fair. That is fair. What's fair? It's what's fair. Just reading the comments. We need to get straight to the point. Exactly. That's why I said elimination of property taxes and a tax reform bill. And then the third bill would be my July 4th bill. And that bill would be the term limits on most government positions, if not all, most government positions, from Congress to Senate to the House. I would set a limit to that to 8 years. There's just no such thing as a career politician. I'll say it once, I'll say it again. There's just no such thing as a career politician. It's all bullshit, bro. Now tell me y'all don't like my strategy if I were president of the United States. I think I would do better than Donald Trump. He's already done enough, in my opinion. He's already done enough. You know, it does seem like the WWE is fake. Donovan, it does. Yep. It's unfortunate, but this is the reality of what we're in. Yeah, our economy's fucking cooked, bro. Our economy's fucking cooked. I don't know if it's going to be repairable at this point. We might fall like the Roman Empire. Maybe it's just our time. Maybe it's the United States' time to fall. Maybe we're on its last legs and limbs. If they impose a draft, I'm not going. Neither am I. I'm not fighting some oligarch's war. Absolutely not. Sign me out. Draft dodger right here. If they impose a draft, I'm not going. I'm not participating. I'm like, nope. I'm not fighting your wars. You're not gonna get me. Hell no. I'd rather sit in jail over there than get drafted. Because if I get drafted, I'm not doing it. Yep, the cost of living has gone up, Marvin. You see, you can barely afford anything anymore, and the taxes are so high that they take if not half your check, 60%. Yeah, and imagine all the taxes you're paying on top of that. Just like, damn, you're hardly left with nothing. Yep, this economy is cooked. We're screwed. I don't know how we're gonna fix this shit. Do you guys know how to fix this shit? Do you know how we're gonna fix this economy? Because I don't. I mean, I have an idea. I told you if I was elected, those are my plans. What we need in office, and I'm pretty sure Donovan agrees with us in the comment section. What we need a regular Joe person to run. Someone that's not a multi-billionaire, somebody that's not backed by corporate hedge funds and funded by corporate hedge funds so that they can run laws that help just solely them. We need a regular guy that's going to run and that can run off a GoFundMe. People can support. That's what we need. We need somebody who's more in touch with the economy. That's what we need. Rather you're Trump, Biden, Obama, all these guys are like multi-millionaire billionaires. That's what we're going to need. Like I said, if Trump reruns in 2028 and he wins again, technically he can only run twice, but if something changes to where he can do that, I don't know what to tell you. But then again, if Newsom wins, that's just as bad. We need somebody that's out of touch, that's in touch with the regular people here, middle and lower income and upper middle income and higher income as well. But we need just a regular Joe that's in touch with all the Americans, not just 10% of your fucking party. Excuse my French. The only better option is JD Vance. I don't know now if he's pushing Trump's narratives. If he's pushing Trump's fucking corporation narratives, shit. We're in a lot more deep trouble than we think we're in. That's my biggest fear, is it's going to be JD Vance versus Gavin Newsom. Now you could say, well, JD Vance is less too evil, but that doesn't mean it's good. And that doesn't mean that the results are going to be good. It just means he's less too evil. But yeah, we're screwed. Like I said, we need someone that's just a regular Joe that can run and can get some sort of popularity going. But I think that's the only way that we're really going to change this country. I'm just saying. I'm just doing shits and giggles. Just shits and giggles, guys. The only problem the Republican Party says is, well, we should let the market determine its value. I'm like, well, how are you going to do that with AI take over? You'd have to address the AI. And then secondly, our taxes are extremely high. So there's no way you allow the market, because what happens is the corporations are just taking over. Because they're the only ones that can survive the high tax increases, not your local mom and pop businesses. That's the reason. I just want a regular person of middle income status to run. Somebody mainly between 25 to maybe 45-ish run, instead of getting yeah, we're screwed. Appreciate for you guys watching. I appreciate it. On the contrary, at least I got my blood pressure down. I got my blood pressure. Yeah, I feel bad for people that are working and not getting paid. Especially those air traffic controllers and flight attendants and all that shit. None of them are getting paid. I'm just saying, they've gone over a month without a check. I'd be fucking pissed. They say, well, you'll get your back pay. You'll get one big check. I don't give a shit. How am I supposed to pay my bills now? These old heads are not getting it done. No, hell no. They're getting the job done for themselves. Somehow they left us all out. I think I'm just almost done voting ever again. I think it's just gets to that point where it's like, you know what? I don't want to play y'all's game anymore. I'm just so sick of it. I just want to just not vote ever again and just not participate. But the only problem is, even if I don't vote, people are still going to vote because you know why? Because they're driven off of people are driven off their emotions and desperation to vote for change. And then that party will do something, and then you'll be desperate again. You'll vote for the other party, and then you'll be desperate. It's like a pendulum swing. So, like, Democrats are winning some of the, like, the race for mayor. Like, they won the New York mayor, and then I think they won some spots in Virginia or whatever, in some other states. It's like, well, yeah, I kind of expected that because the Republican Party really sort of dropped the ball, really. And so, of course, they're going to pick up some momentum here. Is a blue wave coming? It's a possibility. It's a possibility. It wouldn't surprise me. Because if you look at each administration, that's sort of what it's been, right? They use race and religion to divide us. They'll tell us that one side is bad, their race is bad people, and then the other side they do it too. They're like, oh no, it's them. This race is the bad guys. They're the bad people, and it's like, and then so you're driven off that shock value, you know. Just telling it like it is. Well, what they mean by blue wave is that they're going to vote Democrats in a lot of these positions. That's what I'm referring to as the blue wave. And the reason why, if you look at, like, for example, when Biden came in, you had the blue wave there. Then Trump came back in. Then they had the red wave, and they started taking a lot more seats in the House and the Senate and in Congress. So they kind of took control. Now you might see a kind of pendulum swing again. It's common amongst when a new party is transitioning in. It's sort of like, okay, it's your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. Until eventually you start to question the whole thing and, like, what is the purpose of this? Like, what is the purpose? It's just when you think you have the answers to a debate or something, then about 10 more questions pop up. You're like, oh shit, what am I supposed to do? They all they do is race divide, race and religion all day on these channels, all day on these platforms. They just use it to divide us, and it's despicable if they would do that. But then again, they need something to distract us, right? So they'll say this group of people is the bad guys, then next week, no, it's this group. The next week, no, it was that group. Just like fingers are pointing everywhere. That's really why, like, for example, like immigration and that's really what they do. They just drive you to getting angry. And then you're so emotional, you're going to go back to the voting poll, and that's sort of how it works. Sort of how the cookie crumbles. That's how they get us. We've been dancing for so long. Finally, we're just tired of it. That's how they drive that. Yeah, Brandon, I'm actually getting better. I'll send you the pics tomorrow for the NFL. My blood pressure's good. It's just my back. I'm gonna get my back looked at next week. That's why I was so late in posting pics because every time I would sit down in the chair, it would flare up. I've been having a lot of issues with my lower back, to where there were times I just lay down all day. That's all I would do on my off days. Like now, I've been putting ice on it, so it's been helping with the ice packs. So it would numb up that area, so I'm able to sit and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm getting better, man. I appreciate you for asking. I appreciate it. Yeah, this country's a joke. Rachel says, well, it has become a joke. You're right. It has become a joke. Freaking sad, man. You know, these idiots would realize that they would actually get rid of a lot of the issues in this country if they would just eliminate property taxes. But no, they don't want to do that. They just want to keep that freaking. You have an interview with Coca Cola. Gotta crush it, man. I hope you get it. I hope you get that job, Brandon. One day, we ought to do a stream together, like a joint stream, maybe for like NFL or something. I don't know. Maybe even one of your Seahawks games. I wouldn't mind hopping on. I'm just saying. Maybe we should. He said, for sure. For sure. You know what I've been eating a lot lately? Chicken Caesar salad. And those salads have become my best friend because, um, I was 252 pounds. I had high sodium intake. And ever since that, I've been eating right, going on a diet and stuff. My blood pressure went from 147 to 124 on the top number. Then that second number, it went down from like 100 to like, I think it was 84. So my blood pressure is basically back to normal. So that's good. It's just the lower back, really. I need to get it looked at because I might need a cortisone shot in my back, maybe even two shots. What a childish country, bro. Yeah, I mean, we'll look at the people running it, and they're still getting paid. Why would they care to shut it? Why would they care to sign a bill? There's no sense of urgency to sign to get the government from not being shut down. Like they're still getting a paycheck, so what does it matter? They don't even do their job half the time anyway. So what's the point? They don't even do their job, like not even a quarter of the time that they're in office. They don't do nothing. They just sit on Capitol Hill and argue all day. And our tax dollars is covering these dickheads to argue all day. And that's all they do. And but when it comes to funding, sending our money to other places that it shouldn't be, they could reach a deal there immediately. Yeah, I'm told I'm always having to balance my own budget, but that rule doesn't apply for them. Yeah, this country has become a joke. And it has been in regards to this. We need tax reform in this country. Well, it doesn't really matter if you leave the United States because it's going to happen worldwide. especially if the dollar collapses. Oh, we're in a world of trouble. We are in a world of trouble. We are in trouble. I don't know how we're gonna fix this shit. But you can't sit here and tell me the economy is well when you're driving around and hardly anybody's at these places. My bad, I almost dropped my fucking phone. Do you think World War III is imminent? I think it's very possible. I think it's very possible at this point. I mean, if you kind of already look at it, they're already in like these proxy wars. Russia, United States, China. They're already sort of moving in position to possibly set this thing off. Scary thinking about it. That's the last thing I want. Well, at least I went to the movies earlier. I went to go see the new Predator Badlands. It's pretty good. I like going to the movies. Kind of reminded me of how the world kind of used to be back when going to the movies was cool and cheap. Sort of makes you reminisce, but only when you look inside of a theater, there's only like 5 people in there. You're like, I remember this thing whole thing used to be packed. They're like, yeah, we don't need y'all. So it used to like be fun. It kind of makes you remember when you were a kid going to the movies and how fun it was. Now those things are going to be obsolete. Malls are going to close down. Those are going to be obsolete. Everything is the push of a button. Marvin said, I don't mind AI technology. The problem is I hate how we have to depend on it for everything. That is a good point. That is a good point you made, Marvin. I like technology. I like AI, of course, to a degree. But if we have to use it on everything, it's like, come on, are we that lazy of a society that we have to depend on AI for literally everything? Just saying. Yep. I miss when being a kid was fun. Yeah, those days are gone. He said, facts. Yeah, this economy's cooked. Like, it's already in terrible shape. I'm just being honest, guys. We are in trouble. But I appreciate you guys for taking the time to watch this, man. I just wanted to make a short video and just address the issues going on. Our politicians do not care about us. They don't. They do not care. They never have. Unfortunately, sad as it is to say, probably never will. They only care about lining up their own pockets. Schools are getting us the debt. Well, everything's about to burst. The housing dark market, the credit card debt. She said cooled Raptor 279 said hi. Well, hello to you too. Hello to you too. My bad, I almost fell asleep on you guys. I just don't know what else to say. I mean, I think pretty much everything I said in this video has already been addressed. I don't know if there's anything else to add. I just know this economy's cooked. The government shutdown is a joke. That's just crazy. Crazy world we live in. Never mind me, I'm just passing by. But anyways, man, I appreciate you guys for watching this, man. I'm gonna head out of here, man. I'm tired. Peace.